Dr Oyenusi was executed by a combined police and armed forces firing squad on September 8, 1971. Few months after he and 6 of his men were arrested by Nigerian policemen for their involvement in a robbery operation at a factory in Ikeja, Lagos, during which they killed a police officer. Dr Oyenusi's arrest happened on 27th of March 1971. Before then, he was famous for robbing banks and households, both during the day and at night. He was not a doctor by profession, but took up the title doctor because he loved the profession. According to him, his parents were not capable of training him up to secondary school education, and that was what unfortunately forced him into robbery. On that fateful day of their execution, a military officer announced their offenses and read out the court judgment leading to the arranged execution.
The above-named prisoner was on the 5th day of August 1971 found guilty and sentenced to death by firing squad for the following offenses. 1. Robbery.
Men of God were invited to pray for them, depending on each person's fate. When Oyenusi was brought to the popular bar beach in Lagos, where he was to be executed, over 30,000 Nigerians were happily waiting to see the man who had terrorized them. It was also reported that some civil servants brought a coffin to the execution ground to mock his death. This was at the time when firing squads were used to publicly execute criminals in Nigeria. The Nigerian military government introduced this mandatory death by firing squad for convicted armed robbers through a decree known as the Robbery and Firearms Special Provisions Decree of 1970. The first public execution took place in front of Bar Beach, Lagos, on April 26, 1971. Less than 4.5 months later, on September 8, 1971, Oyenusi was executed at the same location. A total of about 960 executions were done between 1970 and 1979, until the civilian government of Shehu Shagari took over in 1979. Out of the 960 executions, 500 of them were done in public, including that of Dr Oyenusi. After the execution of Dr Oyenusi, the streets of Lagos were deserted at night. Many families locked themselves behind doors for the fear that some of Oyenusi's boys might conduct a robbery attack that night to show their anger at the killing of their leader. Thank you for coming by. Please subscribe and follow for more historic facts.